but up. She was right. She was right. I went into the military and went to West Point, as Bob said, got a degree in economics, went into the infantry, served as an Army Ranger and an infantry officer and commanding in the 82nd. And my dad actually, while I was in command in the 82nd, his esophagus ruptured and he got an infection in his chest and was supposed to die. I mean, you're not supposed to live after this particular thing happens to him. He was in the ICU for 42 days, and this surgeon wouldn't give up. And it just so happened that that doctor had been an Army doctor, whom the Army had sent to medical school. And so as I got to know him, as he was caring for our family and caring for my dad, I'd ask him questions. So the Army paid for you to go to med school? Oh yeah, they'll pay you to go. I'm a dumb infantryman, will they pay me? Oh yeah, they'll pay you to go to med school. If you can get in, they'll pay you. So I got out, went to medical school, and the Army actually paid my way, and it was, I never thought I'd have ever gotten accepted. My grade point average at West Point was 2.8. I was near the bottom of my class. In med school, it was just the opposite. I had a 3.8 and graduated in the top of my class. But when I left the academy as an infantryman, I thought this is it for me. I'll be an infantryman all my life. But wound up getting to go to medical school, and really that has been a life changer for me. In the Army, I was actually finishing my residency in 9/11 when 9/11 happened. And how many of you can remember where you were when the towers fell? I mean, those iconic images of those Trade Center towers on fire. I remember very shortly after that getting a call from U.S. Army Special Operations Command, and they said, "Are you that ex-Army ER doc, or ex-Army Ranger who's now an ER doc?" "Yeah, that's me. There's a plane ticket in your mailbox. You're coming to the dark side of the force." And off to Special Ops I went. And have you guys seen the movie Black Hawk Down? Yeah. Or Lone Survivor? Yeah. Lone Survivor. So the helicopter that crashes at the end of Lone Survivor, that's the unit that I was assigned to. In fact, the medic on that flight was one of my medics, and his name is Trey Ponder. In fact, I talked to his mother yesterday. It's a great organization, a great unit to be in. Flying our nation's Tier 1 special operators, and I was their doctor, so you can just imagine the unbelievable experience. And that's how I got to meet my most infamous patient, Saddam Hussein. And I will tell you, Saddam was charming. People ask me, what was he like? He was charming. And as I think about it in reflection, I think, well, that's evil. Evil is seductive, and it's charming, and it's intoxicating, and that's Saddam Hussein. A guy who poisoned his own people with mustard gas. He was a horrible human being. Interestingly, I asked him a question. I think probably the most profound answer he gave me. I asked him why he started Desert Storm 1. Why did you invade Kuwait? He gave me all these justifications about who owned which oil field. But then he said something very insightful into the mind of a tyrant. Saddam held up his hand like this and he said, all of human civilization comes from the Tigris and Euphrates River. All of mankind is an Iraqi, and I'm the president of Iraq. And Saddam was essentially saying, I'm the king of the world. I can do whatever I want. And the thought that kind of came from that for me was this concept, absolute power corrupts absolutely. That left unchecked, the human heart, without any control measures on it, tends to go to that place. There's a great chapter in the Bible that reinforces that concept, Romans 1, where it talks about how people walk away from God, but I won't proselytize this morning or this evening. But Saddam, dark-hearted, black-hearted, and that's who he was. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. You think of, and I'm going to stray off my script a little bit today, but you think of our great nation, Montesquieu, who came up with this concept of separation of powers. And our government that built an executive and a legislative branch and a judicial branch with a separation of powers to kind of keep each other in check. What's frightening is that we have an executive branch leader who seems to think that he can undo the legislative branch with a stroke of a pen and an executive order. That can't stand. We have got to put a stop to that. Well, I got out of the Army in 2006, and I started a company.